This is how you're going to get your first 3 Medicare Part B patients in under 15 minutes. First, all right, if you've been a physical therapist long enough, if you've been in home health, outpatient, skilled nursing, anything like that, especially home health, you have a whole slew of patient contacts in your phone. When I was doing home health, I would always have the patient's name, their family members, whoever the point of contact was, saved in my phone. Hundreds over the 7 years that I was a home health therapist. You had the name. I had even put a parentheses to remind me, okay, where was this person from? Maybe location, whatever was going on with them. That way, you had a whole list in your phone of these former patients or, current patients that were, you were treating or seeing at the time. All right. This is always your first start when it comes to any business, any outreach campaign, any outbound, is these warm, we call them leads that you've already had contact with, you've treated before, you've maybe been in their homes. This is always the place to start. And this is the easiest way to get that caseload up and off the ground, before you even step foot in a doctor's office, reach out to maybe some connections that you have. Always, always, always easiest and best to go with, all the warm people in your phone that you've had that connection with before. All right. Being that you've already been in their home, they're comfortable with you. Ideally, if you've been a good therapist, they should want to have you back, and they should want the ability to be able to treat you again. That's how I all got started. Was I'd have my neighbors, I'd have my old patients read out to me and say, "Hey, Adam, why can't you come see me anymore?" And be like, "Well, you're not homebound anymore, or I don't have any way to bill your insurance, so cash pay or private pay was the only thing, but it's not really." A good satisfactory way, because if the patient has Medicare, they want to use their 28 visits a year that are already covered. So how do we make this actionable, and then a script maybe you can follow that leads you to getting your first couple patients in 15 minutes? All right. First, you're going to take your phone out. You're going to go right to your contact list. All right. What you're also going to do is either make a little note section in your phone, or make a Google Doc or a Google Excel sheet, etc. All right, what you're going to do first is you're going to go through all your contacts. In that Excel sheet, you're going to put patient name, patient phone number, maybe a general idea if you remember, where they lived roughly, just to give you a better understanding. And if you remember what was going on with them, whether it was like gait instability, whether it was CVA, whether it was low back pain, MS, whatever it was, what's really important is that you have something that you remember about them that was in pertains to their case, whatever it was. Okay. So patient name, their phone number, address if you want, but maybe location. And then what's super, super important is, what was going on with them. All right. And then you could put also call date, date you reached out, and maybe, follow-up date needed. Okay. Those are all the headlines you're going to have at the top. And I want you to first go through your phone and put the names, et cetera, for all the patients that you have in your phone that you've either treated before, you're currently treating, that you could reach out to. All right. Once you have it in there, okay, what do we say? How do we bring up the old conversation? We're all little maybe hesitant to fumble on the phone. That's why I'm always the biggest proponent of writing it down. Give yourself a script, and I'm going to give that to you here right now. Okay. First, the opening line, okay, when you call them, because they may not have your phone saved. They may not have your contact information saved. They may have, they may not. So the first line you're always going to deal with is, "Hey, patient name. Hey, John. This is Adam, your old physical therapist." Okay, so first you're calling them out by name, and then you're saying who you are and that you were their physical therapist, so it jogs their memory. Okay, first line. They're going to respond, "Oh, hey, Adam, how are things going?" Okay. You can make small talk, if they just get into a little conversation that is separate from physical therapy. By all means, you're not a robot, okay? Have small talk with them if they, bring it up, or they get right into asking you a question. "Oh, what have you been doing lately? XYZ. Maybe you're out of town and they brought that up." Okay. So it's, "Hey, John, this is Adam, your old physical therapist." They'll say, "Hey, Adam, how are things going?" Great. You can have a few lines, few small talk things of that. Okay. The conversation starts when you ask the question, how has And then this is why I say write down whatever was going on with their case. You say, how has your balance been since we progressed you from the walker to the cane? How has, X, Y, or Z been since you've still been recovering from that surgery? Okay, so when you say how has, and then something pertaining to their case, all right, that's when the scripting really, starts funneling down here. Okay, they may say, oh, I'm still struggling with, X, Y, or Z. Or, oh, hey, I've been doing better. I've been doing what you showed me ever since you left with, my walking with the cane, with, walking my walker. I'm not dragging my foot as much. Okay. That's what they'll respond. All right. So it's how has X, Y, or Z been pertaining to their case? They're going to respond either positively or negatively based on, how they're doing lately. Doesn't matter, their positive, negative response. If they're saying, hey, I'm doing better, that's where you say, awesome. Well, I have great news. I just started my own house call therapy company, and I can keep coming to work with you on your balance, your walking, your leg strength, getting up and down from couches directly through your Medicare again. Okay. If once again to recap, say, oh, that's awesome. Well, I have good news for you. I just started my house call PT company, and I can now continue working with you directly through your Medicare on your walking. And this is where you're putting whatever's pertinent to their case. Getting up from that couch, getting back to your golf swing, X, Y, or Z. All right. If they respond nice, say, hey, I'm really not doing great. When you ask them, oh, what are you still working on, or how has this Y or Z been? And that's where you frame it, sort of like awesome, like we just talked about with a positive response. And then you say, oh, that's really interesting. I just started my house call PT company, and I could work on exactly that with you now directly through your Medicare. I have the means to go through your insurance now, and we can work on X, Y, and Z for about 28 visits. Leave it like that. Don't finish that with, would you like to blah, blah, blah. Okay. They're going to say, oh, that's amazing. Or, oh, that's great. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. That's the line there. And then I say, you're not asking, you say, I would love to come back and get you started as soon as possible. That's the line. I would love to come back and get you started as soon as possible. It's not, hey, would you like me to come out and see you? When would you want to start? Say, I would love to come back and get you started as soon as possible. They would typically respond, great, I would love that. What do I need to do? Awesome, great, when we start, etc. Okay. That's where you finish with perfect. I just need to gather your info, your name, date of birth, address, Medicare number, etc. So this is where you're gathering all their demographics and insurance information, that last part there. And you say, don't worry, I will take care of everything. I just need this, and this information, and then I will handle it. Okay? You're in. All right, they'll give you that demographic info. They'll give you the insurance info. They'll go get their Medicare card, et cetera, et cetera. All right, and then you take it, we get it processed, and then we get the orders from the doctor, and then you're out there seeing the patient. Okay? But just to follow up again, it is not, would you like me to come start out and seeing you? Okay. It's, hey, I would love to come out and get you started as soon as possible. All right. When you're saying, I would love to do that service for you, and I'd love to come out as soon as possible. It is not a question. You don't want to, because they're going to maybe say, and maybe I don't want PT, maybe this or that. I say, I would love to get you to come out and start as soon as possible. They say, oh, great, perfect. I'll take care of everything for you. I just need, this, and this information, and then your insurance information, and I'll take care of the rest. They may say, well, actually, I'm going to the doctor's office this week, and I'd say, perfect. Have them fax a referral over to, this number, or, send me a picture of it, XYZ. All right. Then great. Then you got your first patient there. And then if you have 10 names, you will easily get 3 of them. Like I said, as long as you have these relationships that you've had in the past where these patients love you coming out to their house. All right. Then you can update your spreadsheet, date called, bang. Okay. You can check them off and say, hey, I got everything and I'm good to go to the next one. All right. Then you're going to go through your list there, go all the way down. You could get 5 out of 10. You could get 10 out of 10, but by all means, you're going to get at least 3 here. Like I said, especially you got 10 names. And if you follow this script to the T. All right, to review one more time, saying, hey, John, this is Adam, your old physical therapist. They're going to say, hey, Adam, how are things going, et cetera, et cetera. Great. I just got back from this trip, or I just was out of town here. Great, great, great. And then you say, John, how has your leg been feeling ever since I left you last? Well, things have been getting a little better. I'm still working on this, or that. Awesome. Well, I have great news for you. I just started my own house call PT company, and I can now work with you directly through your Medicare on everything you worked on last time, or whatever new stuff you want to work on this time. They say, oh, great. You say, awesome. I would love to come back and get you started as soon as possible. Perfect. What do I need to do? Great. I just got to get this information, your insurance information, and then I'll take care of the rest. Perfect. Okay. Then you're all set. That's how you get everything. What you can also do too, the way to end these call scripts or whenever you're interacting with someone is, perfect. Who else do you know that I could call that would be interested in how in the house call? They're like, in-home PT. Just say, who else do you know? Not do you know someone. This is a little just sales training. Who else do you know? And then just be quiet and let their brain think about someone else, maybe their neighbor, XYZ. They're going to give you probably another name or two. All right. And that's how you always ask for a referral after you get a referral. And then you can get the next one. All right. But that's pretty simple. That's just the easiest way to get your book going with patients. You're going to follow that script to the T. All right. It's going to feel comfortable. Write it down ahead of time. Make your Google sheet of all your former patients and all their information so you can just run down the list and check through it. All right. You're going to get your first 3 patients in under 15 minutes. And then you're going to hit the ground running. Thanks for watching, everyone. This is how you get your first 3 patients in under 15 minutes. Hope you found this useful. We'll be covering more tactical ways for you to get out and build your caseload in more videos, whether it comes to MD marketing, ALF marketing, how to continue to reach out to former warm leads. Welcome to the PTView Playbook, and we look forward to working with you in the future.